Hello, today I just wanted to take a look at three properties of flex items, um, specifically default values for those. Default for flex grow, flex shrink, and flex basis. So let's take a look at the markup. So we have just main, container, and then we have three boxes. Each box has a different amount of content. As you can see, the first box was less content, this is more content, and then this is more content. So in CSS we have container with the display flex, and item automatically become, because they're direct children of the container with display flex, and they become flex items. So each flex item has a class, and as you can see, there is nothing added. There is no properties like flex item properties added to this class. So just add in some text align, background, and the border. But what we let's just take a look at the behavior of those items. Um, okay. So let's see, like we have the widths, container widths, but let's just comment out it for a moment just to see what happens. Okay, so what happens here is we have three default properties, which is flex grow, flex shrink, and flex basis. Now those are properties which are applied to flex items. Default means those values are applied by default when flex items are created, and it also means applied by default, as you saw in our CSS on the item level. They're not added, like you don't see those, you're not seeing those properties here, but the behavior, what happens here. So the first property, flex grow, its default value is 0. 0 means the item will not grow. So you guys can Google it. Me myself, I find useful CSS tricks. So sometimes I just go there if I need to check some properties for flexbox. But on CSS tricks, it says there that flex grow, it defines ability for a flex item to grow if necessary, and it accepts it says a unitless value that serves as a proportion. Okay, so let's I mean, it's the default is 0, but let's see what happens if we set it to 1. It says that the remaining space in the container will be distributed equally to all children, or if one of the children has a value of 2, remaining space would take up twice as much space as the others. Let's just experiment a little bit. And so we have this one like item, but, and this means all three of them, like 1, 2, 3, currently have flex grow 0, which is default. But I'm just gonna copy this rule, just copy and paste. And how about we change this just to, let's make it like grow, and say we change this one to grow. It's gonna be first box, and say how about we add flex grow 1. let's see what happens. Again, what's happening on our in our container. Currently we don't have a width. It just automatically stretches within the body, because body is a parent for the main, and main is our container. But flex grow 1 on the first item. Here you go. You see it's grew like because we allow it to grow, whereas flex grow 0, it won't, it just simply doesn't allow to grow. So flex grow 2, it doesn't grow. I think it's because this one kind of matches, trying to match the content within this box. That's why it doesn't grow more in size. So just gonna remove this, and let's take a look at the second one, flex shrink. This one, default value for flex shrink is 1. It means item can shrink. So this is actually the reason in our example items don't overflow container, but if we change it to 0, overflow will happen if container is too narrow. So to demonstrate this flex shrink property, what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna revert back to where it was before. Just comment this out, change this to item, and I'm just gonna activate this one. So give our container width of 500 pixel, and just to see what happens with the default flex shrink of 1. So flex shrink 1 is the default, meaning item can shrink. So this is our container. So what happening, so item shrink to kind of match the the most narrow, or like the narrowest width, which is necessary to, like, for the content, I believe, because we also have a padding of 10 pixel. That's why we see here like some space around, but that's why the overflow does not happen. But let's just try make a container a little like narrow, and give them the flex shrink of 0, meaning they cannot shrink. Just see what happens. So let's do container, maybe, I don't know, 100 pixels, and let's see what happens even without flex shrink. Okay, they already overflow, but if we do, like, let's do like maybe 200 pixels, just out of curiosity. 200 pixels. So this is our 200 pixels container. Items, the flex shrink now, like right now what we're seeing is a flex shrink 1, meaning they can shrink. So it looks like they shrank to the narrowest possible width, and it just overflows the container. But if we change to no shrink, so meaning flex shrink 0. So let's do this. So flex shrink 0, and here goes. They don't shrink at all. They just stretch, just to stretch to fit the content. Looks like it. But the interesting one also is the default of flex basis. Currently, we don't have any flex basis. The default value of flex basis is auto, and it simply means that whatever the box is, it just fits its content. So meaning if we have 3 boxes with different amount of content, each item would adjust its width to the amount of its content. So this is the reason content of our boxes does not overflow of the box itself. Okay, but and 1 second, let's see here. And right now we have width to 100, but if we do 500, okay, 1 second. Oh yeah, I forgot to remove this. Yeah, because like right now flex shrink is 0, so we need to remove it, and if we remove it, it becomes flex shrink 1, and 1 means item can shrink. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, so that's the basics of flex grow, flex shrink, and flex basis. I think it's important to understand how this works at the most basic level, and just start from here, because yeah, the default is what is applied by default, meaning when we don't see those properties in CSS, but they just applied by default. Okay, hope this was helpful, and as always, thank you for watching.